And just like that, 50% of the armies on the table disappeared. And that 50% was the Votann.
Okay.
With the final...
No. These little boys over in this corner, they're still there.
They are.
They scored their points. They did their investigate signals, behind enemy lines, engage all fronts. They're great.
And that compensates for some of the models of mine that you killed, some of the units of Necrons that you killed, and maybe like was it like an elephant, like a weird alien elephant on the other side of the planet? It got snapped out of existence.
Okay.
Instead of the Sagittar. With the final score, Necrons 73, Votann 55. So this is the first time I played this mission. I like that. That was kind of cool. Seeing the objective markers just vanish was kind of cool, and led to some interesting decisions on how to play the mission. Like, I early on when you took over here, I was like, okay, I don't really care to invest anything because that's going to go away.
Right.
But the other one was worth investing some time in. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like in general, in the balance update, they've kind of buffed some combat stuff, which means a mission like this where holding the middle is absolutely essential, or holding one of these no man's land is essential to scoring huge primaries. It gives a bit of an advantage to melee armies, which up until this point in 10th edition have been kind of suffering a little bit. So I think it's a nice change for, I like the mission. It's kind of a win more mission. Like, if you're winning, you're really, really winning on primaries there by the end.
Yeah, if you don't have an army that can play center, then you got to be able to hold the center.
Yeah.
And what is like Necrons may be the best center play army in the game.
Yeah.
Just because you have units like Necron warriors that can just walk into the middle and hold it for the rest of the game. So, and that's going over to that, talking about some of the things on the list. Now, I'm greatly considering this because I'm not sure which one of my builds I like more. Granted, yes, playing against Votann, but I don't know if I like this build or my Canoptic build more, because this was, one, a lot of fun, and two, it seemed like it had better board control. What did you think about that?
Yeah, like you said, it's hard to tell because the Votann are extremely squishy. There's a lot of them, but they get squished pretty hard. But the warriors are still very durable. Even without the invuln that Lich Guard have, or only one wounded piece, they're still very durable once you've got them buffed, especially because they get Armor of Contempt from Illuminar Sarathos being near them.
Yeah.
That's something that they'll get automatically. It's an aura buff, so multiple warrior units will benefit from that. So I still felt they were very strong.
Dropped in points.
Yeah. And I had to put a ton of shots into those warriors to finally kill through them. Having 6 guns that were blast and D6 shots apiece, and wounding on 2s, and with double sustained hits, and then it took them and the Hearthguard, and it was just 6.
And then another one just walks over and goes, hey, that was fun. Want to do it again?
Right.
Yeah. So what did you think of the score packs?
They're still really good. You're really good at using the reanimator at the right time to bring them back. And we had talked previously before we started recording this, is that in this special rule where you got the extra CP, that just allows you extra reanimates. And the fact that now you can't be vected, any of those abilities that increase the cost of a stratagem.
Does that also go in the increase? Isn't on that? Battle tactics are the only ones that could be increased?
Yeah. Because it's any way of affecting the cost of a stratagem. So, yeah, that's why the Calidus Assassin went down in 25 points, because her ability was greatly nerfed. So she is cheaper now. She's only 90 points rather than 115. But, yeah, so you kind of double benefited there in that. So it allows you to just reanimate more and more. You don't have to worry about anybody making that reanimate more expensive for you. So this, with the extra command points you were getting, and then not have to worry about that. So definitely use them very well to keep, even like, I thought like 3-man Scorpack squads, I should be able to chew through them quickly and just leave the Scorpack Lord there, but it didn't happen. It took a long time to kill some of those.
It's like a 1 die. It's like, oh, okay, I killed 1. All right, let me reanimate, or you killed 2. Okay, let me reanimate, and boom, all of a sudden they're back. And it's like, all right, we'll charge in there. Okay, let me do it again. Boom, they come back. And it's just like keeping just that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
And there was a ton of reanimating, even though I killed the reanimator relatively early. Turn 2, did I pick up the reanimator?
No, I don't think you got him until turn 3, because turn 1 I moved him out defensively. Turn 2, I did move him out more aggressively. It might have been turn 2 because you went
Yeah.
second. It might have been your turn 2 because I did move him out pseudo aggressively.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think he was there that long. It took a lot to kill him. It took a lot of shooting to kill him, but you were still able to reanimate quite a bit. And in many cases, you really only want to benefit the warriors because in many cases you were able to reanimate back up to the full squad strength without the reanimator. So I think it's an interesting build.
it helped. The reanimator helped early on for one, the score packs that I rushed out there because I was able to get those and keep them running. It helped with the catacomb command barge, and one of the big things was at that point when I had the center at that point, I looked over. I'm like, okay, this is going to be my distraction Carnifex. I was fine with losing it. I was fine. I was like, go ahead and kill this at this point. And that's what happened. Hexmark Destroyer was hilarious.
Oh, guys. You'd be glad this was not a live battle report that we streamed because I was very salty in between takes.
we might have gotten demonetized in there.
It's just exhausting playing against Necrons because of all the reanimations and all the invulns and all the feel no pains. And then the Hexmark, anytime you shoot anything near him, he gets to shoot anywhere he wants for free with no caps, no limits.
I told Lay at the beginning of the turn, I was like, okay, I'm just going to hold 6 dice. Should I just hold 6 dice during your shooting phase?
Yeah.
Just blasted through it. It was really annoying too, especially because it makes you think like, what am I going to shoot first? Because he's going to shoot, or do I move away? And then he free overwatches. He's a great utility piece. He's not going to completely obliterate anyone's army, but he's going to pick on you.
Well, he was particularly painful to me because he was doing work into the bikes and picking up. Every time he do it, he'd pick up one bike here, one bike
there.
It
felt like that. Every time he shot, it felt like
over one of my shooting phases, he probably picked up 3 or 4 of the jet bikes. So that definitely hurt me in the long run. And the fact he's a character, he just comes back when I kill him. You spend the 1 CP. Again, the extra CP for the reanimate and popping up characters.
That's
all
right,
over
buddy.
The place. Yeah.
That's right. So, okay, nothing on Necrons. I think the list worked really well. The Ophidians were a good add to it. Tomb Blades did fine. I think that taking the 3/3, the one of each of those is a 3-man. They all have different roles. That does well for them. The Ophidians were fine. The Ophidians were great, except failing a charge with double 1s. The score packs are really cool. Like I said, I can get stuff in there to tie and bog you down, but I need things that can impact. I like the score packs. I'd like to give this another run against a more meta army.
Mm-hmm.
Now over into Votann. It did definitely, like, once again, it just felt like you're just lackluster. Like, I was starting to I was really unimpressed and not even scared at all of the hecatons.
Yeah, well, I missed every single shot with the Magna Rail.
That was one thing, yeah.
Never hit once. Didn't even have to roll the wound ever. Never hit once. No rerolls in the army. Excuse me. No rerolls in the army. So there's no way to correct for that other than just a CP reroll. Well, it just doesn't seem great because unless you're shooting at something with a judgment token, it's still going to be forced to hit.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stuff it just kind of feels bad in the army. And after having played it, I played it pretty successfully in 9th edition. I didn't win any GTs or anything, but I did win a bunch of local RTTs with my Votann. It's hard to get the functionality of the units the way they function in 9th out of your head because in 10th edition you need to use everything differently. And even I was trying to underestimate my damage output, and I would fail to underestimate it enough because it's just sometimes the Hecaton does zero to a thing. And in 9th edition, they would, even on a sour set of dice, they'd do a significant amount of damage. So
now, what about more of the Thunderkin? They did really well.
Yeah, they were nice. They only have an 18-inch range, but even when they weren't shooting at vehicles, like shooting into a 20-man warrior brick was nice because 6 of them got 66 shots in his blast, so they got an additional 24 shots on top of that. Mm-hmm. So they put out a ton of shots.
I think you had 44 shots, then you popped the stratagem, so you were doing you were doing
sustained 2. So
sustained 2. Yeah,
I think it was 44 shots and I got 48 hits. So that did pretty well. And their strength 5 and the warriors, they're wounding them on 2s of it. The warriors had judgment tokens. Mm-hmm. So, but again, all those shots I think did 14 guys. Picked up 14 of the warriors. Just a ridiculous amount of damage output. but you're still getting your 4-up saves because you had cover and you're reducing
Yep.
AP because of
Xeris.
Xeris. Yeah. So, but I do think they definitely, that blast is definitely something that's very useful, and they're pretty cheap now. So they're an interesting piece to use. I think getting some more Hearthguard and maybe getting some more of those would be interesting to see how that damage output would work.
Yeah, the Hearthguard are really good, except for it doesn't seem like they like to get hit. With only having 2
well, no,
wounds.
getting hit is fine. You picked up 2.5 of them from impact damage to mortals. They still just disappear to mortals. They're only 2 wounds apiece.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I did roll a 6 on the score pack.
Yeah,
that one was a heavy hit.
They're T6 and -1 to wound, so they are kind of tricky to hurt sometimes. They got
That's
2 up
fair.
armor.
That's fair.
But yeah, you picked up 2.5 from impact damage. I still don't like mortals. They're still just little 2 wound babies, so mortals make them disappear. But again, it's only 150 points, I think, for 5 of them. So
that's not bad.
Yeah, they're still.
That's not bad at all. Yeah, and what's the maximum squad size of those guys?
10. Yeah. So yeah, some people are pushing 30 of them because they are one of the few things that's ballistic skill 3. So when they target something like a judgment token, shooting and fighting, they're hitting on 2s.
Interesting.
Which gets pretty strong.
Interesting. So was there any part of Votann that you did really enjoy and go, okay, I want to invest more time into this, or you kind of looking to go back over to one of your other armies?
I think they're cheap enough to lower the points anymore. We don't.
I don't own enough of this.
Yeah, it's a new army. I feel bad for some people that this is most of my models. I think I have, some more warriors, but it's all my hecatons, all my bikes, all my Hearthguard, all my berserks, all my Thunderkin. I guess I left a couple characters off because the characters are just no good. But yeah, the points are fine. They just need to do some more things. Just don't feel like they work very well. Some capacity for rerolls should be in there. Something along those lines.
Something also, and one thing that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, obviously, I love the fact of how it works, but when you shoot a Necrons and you kill a model, for 1 command point, I can shoot back at that unit.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is for 2.
Yeah, you also get extra AP or ignore cover.
Ignore cover.
Yeah. So
I don't understand why yours costs 2 command points and it doesn't give you anything else. Like if it gave you, if it was 2 command points and you could shoot, but it didn't have to be at the unit that you could shoot, okay, at least I could see that there was something else benefiting from it. But that's one that I really don't understand at all. That logic makes no sense to me.
Well, it goes by the army. I think they figure that for Votann players, like what happened in this game, especially because I was able to pick up those Tomb Blades turn 1, I got 3 extra command points. So it gives you. I think they figure Votann players will probably have some extra CP in there.
Sure,
it's a big bonus. But you're right. The balance in some of these things is pretty silly. And it's also with me, it's one of my units. It's after you've shot. So if you kill 3 of the jet bikes, then it's only 3 jet bikes left.
Right.
With your Necron warriors.
First I reanimate, then I shoot you.
Yeah. Some of that stuff feels a little sour. I think they need to look at the characters. The characters mostly don't feel very valuable. They don't synergize well with the units. I didn't even take a call. If I had taken a call, I would have to get it on line of sight of a unit to see something, and then you can just target that unit. And the only thing you can join really are just the basic warriors. You had asked before the game, like, why aren't you putting this character with this? Because they're extremely limited as to which characters can join which units.
Oh, trust me, I feel you there on that one.
So it's a bit of a bummer there. So if they were to improve things, it doesn't need to be points anymore. Just make it more fun.
That's where I can agree with that. Like, I know that Necrons are at a really good position. So complaining and saying, oh, they need to do this, need to do that, is kind of meh. But one of the things that I think Necrons could use is some characters that could join other units.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, all the characters, unless you have a Locust Lord to join Locust Destroyers, a Scorpack Lord to join Scorpack Destroyers, everything else basically can only join Immortals, Warriors, and Lichguard. And there's other things like Flayed Ones or the Pariahs. Like, I know that they are the Trier Praetorians, and I get that they're kind of in a different realm, but it would still be nice to have maybe a character that could join into those, or like give some of these characters like the Royal Warden or some of the Cryptex as well are able to join one of some of these units. So there's at least some character that can join these units to give them a little bit of extra perks. I'd like to see that, but
I think
that's fluff.
GW kind of announced that as each army gets their codex, they're going to guarantee to at least get 1 or 2 units. I'm guessing a lot of armies will be getting new characters when their codexes come out. I'm guessing that because of the change from characters being buffing to joining units in 10th edition, I'm guessing that when they release codexes, you're going to get 1 or 2 new characters to put on new units and give you some new abilities. I'm hoping for a character on the Pioneer jet bike. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I'm wondering. I think a good one would be is if they took the spider and had the spider be able to join scarabs.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. That makes sense. Yeah, because they have like the Space Marine ATV can join the Outriders.
Yeah,
you put one in there.
Something like that. But all right. Any closing thoughts? Anything else you got? Any closing feelings about Votann?
No, I mean this is only probably the second time I've run them in 10th edition. I actually don't feel too bad about them. They score secondaries well. Primaries can be tough because they're just, regardless of how cheap they are, they're not very durable. And but I still feel like they're greatly improved. They're not terrible. They might not be good yet, but they're worth some play. So if you're a Votann player, I definitely experiment with some stuff, try some things, have fun with it, and maybe get a few wins at least.
All right. Well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the battle report. We'll be back next week. Probably switch stuff up a little bit. I think the Grey Knights are going to come back out. I want to see what some of the point changes, how much more I can get out on the field. And then in the near future, Death Guard and AdMech, we got a rubber match. We're 1-1. We got to finish that rivalry. So what better way to do it is actually take these two armies that are kind of we're lower tier, have been given a little bit of extra to them, and now sit down and, like I said, I'm going to sit down with AdMech and actually try. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll talk to you again soon.